Count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Lovely. I'll tell you, this is what my 86. This will be the 86th episode of Hill.
Wow.
And never ever in any of the episodes has my voice not been loud enough. That's never been the problem.
That's never the problem.
Nor has the problem ever been it was too short.
Never.
History, I'd like to follow me down the rabbit hole. History, I'd like to, frankly, I want to know.
Hey, welcome back to the bonus for episode 86, Religion in America with Ryan Ripple. Listen, our Hill thing was such a blast that, as often happens with besties, we just talked forever, girl, and we went off on a bunch of tangents. And when the recording was done, I was like, man, that was fun. And I am going to have just a bear of an edit ahead of me. And so as a result, the episode that you've already heard endured some very painful cuts, but they were made less painful for me knowing that I'm the fucking boss. And I can do whatever I want. So I strung the gems from the cutting room floor into a lovely necklace that I present to you now. Oh, wow. It looks so good on you. So ahead, you're going to hear the story of the so-called Scopes monkey trial from 1925, during which the Bible was literally questioned on the stand as folks debated, really for the first time, if evolution should be taught in schools. Yeah. I mean, if you saw that movie or play Inherit the Wind, you're like, yeah, that was real. Yeah, it's totally real. You're also going to hear me answer Ryan's questions regarding how I personally interpret some of Christianity's historic contributions. And perhaps, most importantly of all, we discuss, as he revealed that Britney Spears is his personal pop hero, who was mine. So thank you again, as always, for hilfing with me. It really is an honor to have you listen and take me along with you wherever you're listening. And so now let's get started again.
I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to know. I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to know.
I really want to start part two of this Hill thing in much the same way that we started part one, which is with
And
a story.
a blackout of the sun.
A blackout of the sun, yeah, kind of. It is now July 17th, 1925.
Okay.
We look amazing. We're best friends. People think we're fucking, but couldn't be worse.
Could we? Yeah.
We might even pretend to be married. It's
We
a
would call
beautiful
that
time.
a lavender marriage.
Okay,
Continue.
so we're in a lavender marriage in the city of Dayton, Tennessee in July of 1925. And girl, it is hot. It is one of them. Everybody, hot. Too fucking hot. Nobody wants to be anywhere. And yet, we are all gathered with literally everybody else in town in the hot, hot sun outside of the courthouse because the trial of the century, possibly the trial of the millennia, is happening here in Dayton, Tennessee. And the courtroom had been so packed and so hot that they moved everybody outside just to accommodate, like, it was slightly less hot and then more people could see what was going on. And we are like everyone else, like, what do you say? What do you say? And we're all over the place. The reason why everyone's gathered around is because a local public school teacher named John Scopes, 24, kind of hot, has been arrested for teaching evolution in the local public school.
Get on, John.
Come on,
Huzzah.
John, exactly right. Here is the background on what history calls the Scopes trial, sometimes called the monkey trial of 1925. If you're a big fan of the movie Inherit the Wind, that is what the movie Inherit the Wind is all about, this historic thing that happened in
What year
1925.
did Inherit the Wind come out?
1960, and then they made a made-for-TV version in 1999. And it would still, people would be like gasping. You know how when you watch like All in the Family?
Of course.
And Archie Bunker says something and you're like, oh,
That's last.
and you're like,
Yeah.
how can they say this on TV? And
Yeah.
it was made, 5 years before I was born.
Right.
It's similar. You watch Inherit the Wind, which the trial took place in 1925. The movie was made in 1960. You're watching it in 2025 going, oh, I can't believe he said that. Like, it's fun. It's really fun.
Okay.
And it's because this is still a hot button issue. It's astounding to me. It was astounding to them in 1925. It is astounding to me literally 100 years later that it's still controversial to say that evolution is true. Okay. But this is really the clinch point in America where this issue becomes church and state. And what the fuck are we going to do when church and state smash heads in a place where we've said they got to be separate? Okay? So there's a lot on the line. And here's generally what happened. In 1925, Darwin's evolution of species is 66 years old. So this is hardly new science, okay?
Right.
It's been 66 years. Evolution has now been pretty much adopted by a lot of places. It's been tried, it's been looked at, it's been examined, it's been peer reviewed, and people just keep being like, would you look at that? The mayflies do the thing. If we give one of them a thing, then a few generations later, they all got the thing. People are proving in various small ways that they can't disprove evolution.
Right.
To prove evolution is, of course, the loophole that a lot of people find if they're looking for the loophole in evolution, but it's hard to disprove it, right?
Yeah.
And as a result, now 66 years later in 1925, it is in textbooks. And it is the foundation of a lot of scientific organizations. It is the premise of a lot of founding medical journals. It's becoming mainstream. And it's being taught in schools.
Great.
But not in Tennessee. Okay, because
Tennessee.
the House of Representatives, his name is John W. Butler, says God created man in 7 days. That's what the Bible says. And I don't give a fuck what this guy Darwin or what anyone else says. It is against the word of God to teach our children that we are descended from monkeys and not a result of God's divine plan that he instituted in exactly the way the Bible said he did. Okay?
Oh, sorry,
It's
I forgot we were on
passed.
camera when I rolled my eyes that hard.
They still up from Space Girl. So
God.
they passed this act. Tennessee passes the Butler Act. It is now, poof, with the Butler Act, illegal to teach evolution in schools. And this is exactly what was going through the minds of people. They were like, okay. So it's in some of the textbooks. It's in our lives. But this guy says it's illegal to teach it in public school. So this is what we call the stunt. A guy named George Rapelier manages a coal and iron company.
That's how I'm going to start pronouncing my last name.
Rapelier. My buddy Ryan Rapelier.
Rapelier.
He runs the coal and iron company, and he's against this act. He thinks you should be able to teach evolution in school. And he calls two buddies into a meeting at a local restaurant, okay? Walter White. What? Who? Not that Walter White, a different guy, but he is the superintendent, the county superintendent of schools in Dayton, Tennessee. He's for the act. He does not think we should be teaching evolution in schools. And the other person he invites to this meeting is a boy named Sue, a
Really?
lawyer named Sue K. Hicks. Also, he thinks we should not be teaching evolution in schools.
What were they teaching before?
Whatever we knew. I mean, evolution wasn't a thing. It was like you taught general biology, you taught life cycle of a tadpole, you did the thing. It wasn't until Darwin that we were like, shoot.
So they weren't really teaching like how did the world begin?
no.
Okay, good.
Like in the same way that we didn't see Earth, you know that classic view of the Earth from outer space?
Yeah.
That's in every classroom, just
Yeah.
the beautiful blue globe in outer space?
Yeah.
Well, obviously no classroom had that before we got to outer space and took the picture. So you'd be
that.
like, well, what did they think the Earth looked like? Be like, I don't know. Nobody knew. We took a picture, but it looked like from a mountain, what we thought it looked like. But
Yeah.
so what were they teaching in science? The miracle of life, I guess,
Okay. Anywho, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, that's okay. These are great. Ask away, honey, anytime. But this guy, George Rapelier, is like, all right, listen, I know we're on different sides of this issue, but here's what I propose. We get somebody to be arrested for violating this act, and we run the court case through Dayton, Tennessee. Here's why. I think the act is bullshit and should be knocked down. So if I win the trial, great. Right now, it's not being taught. It's not being enacted. People are teaching evolution in schools, and no one's being arrested. They're violating the act, and nothing's happening. So if you win, then you win. And either way, we get a lot of attention and a lot of money. People coming to Dayton, Tennessee and staying in our hotels and eating in our restaurant. And we become the location of this enormous trial. We know that it will draw a ton of national and international attention. And whoever wins, wins. And they go, great. So they arrange for this guy, John Scopes, who is a substitute teacher and can't even say for sure if he taught evolution. He was like, well, I was the biology substitute. And I do believe in evolution, but yeah, I'll say I did. And he even got the students to testify against him. We really need you, students, to tell anyone who asks, yes, I definitely taught you evolution because I'm trying to get arrested here. Okay, so he is arrested. And this is where, much like in Jurassic Park, life finds a way, right? Our guy, George Rappelier, may have thought, oh, this will be great for Tennessee. And then whatever happens, happens, right? How could we lose? They start to realize very quickly that this was like, uh-oh.
They done fucked up.
Maybe we don't want all this. And one of them was, the publicity was great. That you and I are standing in the public square and everyone's going to go get lunch after. Perfect.
Yeah.
Right? That the newspapers are all here. Great. We get, however, the attention of a guy named William Jennings Bryan, who has decided he will speak for the prosecution. Okay, this guy is Bible thumper, has run for president 3 times. You don't know who he is because he never won.
Thank God.
And he is there to prove that God prevails over science. He will work for free. He is a big celebrity. Everybody loves him. Everybody support. He's the guy. And he's going to come to Dayton, Tennessee, and he's going to prosecute this teacher in the name of God. Okay?
Okay.
For the defense...
He sounds fun.
He sounds fun. For the defense, we get Clarence Darrow, who is like the hated atheist lizard man. He's basically, according to the general Christian public, this guy's the devil. He's said God doesn't exist sometimes. He's gone so far as to be like, it doesn't fucking matter what the Bible says when you're in a science lab. That kind of crazy out there.
Amen, brother.
kind of stuff. He's deeply distrusted. And this is the only time in his political career that he ever worked for free.
Amen, brother.
Because he's like, you bet, buddy. And the great thing is, him and Brian are buddies. They used to be really close, and now they could not disagree more fervently on this subject, but they're still kind of buddies, which makes it very fun to watch. And one of the reasons why it's a great movie and a great play. So here are just some of the things that had people going, like during this trial, okay? For one, Darrow, at one point, when the court won't let him call his witnesses, he tries to call biology, evolutionary professors at Harvard. He tries to bring in molecular biologists from various organizations to come and talk, and the court won't let him. They keep like turning down all of the witnesses he wants to bring. So he calls to the stand Brian, the prosecution, the guy who's leading the prosecution. He goes, I call him as a witness then. And they were like, why? And he goes, he's an expert on the Bible. And I have a few questions about the Bible. And they let him do it. So Brian gets on the stand, and you have this incredible moment in the courts of the United States of America where one guy is like, so what's the deal with the rib? So I'm supposed to believe, did woman come from Adam's rib in the garden one day? Is that what you, because what I'm saying, then he's kind of isn't sure how to answer, and it gets kind of, well, it's a metaphor. He doesn't say it's a metaphor. He has a hard time answering that question. And he says, so it has no place in science. So that's my point, is where does woman come from is one of those biological questions where the Bible has something to say, and it's not to be taken as fact. The burning bush. He's like, could that not mean it had red light? Like, he just generally stutters him a little bit, right? There's a point where everyone kind of knows that what Brian really wants to do. He's the third, he's run for president 3 times. He gives speeches, and he really wants to give the closing speech. It's going to be from the pulpit, and it's going to be God prevails and our justice. We put our hand on the Bible when we're in court. I mean, he uses that as the whole thing, and he is going to give this speech. And so Darrow, at the end of the trial, when he starts to realize he's not going to win, says, I don't want to, my client's guilty. He can't win. And the court's like, why are you doing that? And he's like, so he can't give his closing speech. We can't win. You've made it impossible for him to win, so I'm not going to make a closing speech. And if I don't make a closing speech, he can't either. And Brian was like, oh, man.
That's amazing.
And then the other great thing is he wrote that speech. Then he was like, that's okay, because I'm going to win this fucking trial, and I'm going to take my speech on the road, girl. And I'm going to give I'm going to drop these gems from the backs of trains, you know what I mean, across the country. Only Brian dies in his sleep the Sunday after the trial. He never gets a chance.
Divine providence, some might
give
say.
his speech. Our guy Scopes loses. He is found guilty of violating the act because he did. It's illegal to teach evolution in schools. Whether or not it should be is not the question. The question was, is the law that you can't? Yep. Did he do it? Yep. It was kind of cut and dried, even though what everyone wanted was for the question really to be, should we be teaching evolution in schools, right? So Scopes, get this, is charged $100 fine, but it's ultimately dropped because the judge fucked up. The judge instituted the fine before he gave Scopes a chance to speak, so it all was dismissed. And
amazing.
Poof. Part of the reason why I wanted to start with the monkey trial, the Scopes monkey trial of 1925, is because it's been 100 fucking years.
Oh, wow.
100 fucking years since that trial. And if you got on your phone right now and tweeted out to the general world, evolution is true, or a picture of an ape descending or evolving into a man, you would get an interesting barrage of comments.
Yeah.
On these devices that are crazy, super futuristic, that depend almost entirely on the fact that our scientific conclusions are true. Otherwise, there's no way that you can send little images up to a bowl in outer space that then beams it down in ones and zeros to your phone. And that you can, using this incredibly futuristic device, say that science doesn't know how science works. It's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty meta.
It's amazing.
When you get there.
It's quite the pretzel to twist yourself into, but you can go for it.
Do you have any questions, final thoughts?
I think my question would be to you, how did after your study of this for this podcast, what, if anything, in either direction, did it change the way that you feel about religion in general?
I can't say it changed the way I feel about religion in general, but it did solidify. Because when we first started talking, you articulated a really natural, common refrain to when you get into the weeds with some of the stuff, which is like, fuck this dumb shit, right? People can believe whatever they want, but organized religion, these houses of worship, I think you brought up a quote of when the last king is strangled by the entrails of the last priest. That's when we'll have peace. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a French guy who said that. And the reason why I wouldn't be surprised it would be a French guy who said that is because the French Revolution tried it. And they tried it right after, we had our revolution and they had the French Revolution afterwards. And one of the things Robespierre did was fucking kill priests just for being priests and said, organized religion is fucking dumb. And part of the reason we've had all these problems is because of church and state and kings, and took what we were doing in the Constitution, really amped it up. It was no more church. And if that worked, and if that was a good thing, then there wouldn't have been any more violence or corruption or stealing of thrones. But there clearly was. Robespierre was as bad as any religious villain you want to name. As bad, if not worse, than any religious villain you want to name. It's kind of like the only thing worse than an evangelical is an atheist. Right? Because they both just want to tell me why I'm fucking wrong and how I should live my life, right?
Yep.
And yet, in the light of so much difficulty, just being a human is so hard. Having these mortal bodies and these big infinite brains is so hard. We have to live in the present 1 minute at a time. We are subject to our bodies. We're subject to the natural world, but we can fantasize and dream and have these complicated ideas of places we've never been and entities we'll never see. And we have poetry. It's just this endless discord of being a human alive on this earth. And so I don't hate religion any more or less than I hate a genre of music or I hate a style of clothing, or I hate a movie. Do you know what I mean? Because it is an expression of this place, of this existence, of this thing. And there are people that when they get into church, I mean, I went to Italy, man, in my deism all around me. And something happens to you, you walk in those buildings. There is something more than human in there. Not to say it's God. It might just be generations of humans. It might just be that it took hundreds of years for people to build this thing. It took thousands of people to carve each brick. And then it took hundreds of people to design the stained glass. And I am actually, when I'm standing in this place, I'm feeling something divine because I'm feeling the collective work of many people focused on a singular object. It doesn't change the fact that when I'm in there, my heart races and I feel lifted. So is that God? Is that divine? And should that church be destroyed? Okay. Those are so many different things, you know? What I usually feel is, and I'm also a mom, which means I've been asked questions in really difficult moments when someone we love dies and those innocent eyes look up at you and say, will I ever see them again? Is it better to say, no, sweetheart, when we're dead, the lights go out? And it's because I'm no more confident in that answer than I am in, yes, we'll hold hands again in heaven. But she's not saying she wants an answer. She's just asking, you know, so I also can feel the complexity of wanting to give comfort I have found to someone else in a moment that feels like I'm giving you facts when I'm giving you truth. And truth and facts are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think evil is evil, and it can live in and outside of a church.
Yeah,
Maybe
I agree with that.
A simpler way of putting it.
I agree with that. I think that because, you know, freedom of religion also means freedom from religion. That in that way, in that sense, and that's why, like we were talking about earlier, I think off mic, but you know, like what's going on in Texas right now with the Texas legislature, you know, a couple of years ago legalizing hemp-based THC products and then deciding to take it away, probably because the liquor lobbyists got involved because it's starting to eat into their profits.
Sure.
So it really doesn't have anything to do with morals or you actually caring about people's health or their well-being, because if you did that, you would also outlaw alcohol and whatever, you know, if you actually cared about health, if that's what was concerning you, then you would also, you know, make alcohol illegal.
Well, remember when they tried to ban, you know, 32-ounce sodas in New York?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't tell us
exactly
how
so
much
that
sugar.
Like Texas right now, like as of, you know, yesterday, deciding to go back on that, and now they decide, oh, we're changing our mind, we're going to outlaw THC based products after countless businesses have been opened selling those products, after uncountable amounts of money have been made selling these products in liquor stores. Texas is going to go in and take that away from people and slap their hands and say, you can't do that anymore because it's bad.
Well, it's kind of the same. I mean, I don't know. I think it's too, I'm not in the camp that says we need to somehow, that we would fix any of our problems with organized religion by civically banning organized religion. I disagree with completely. Or that even
same.
in a theoretical way that we'd all just be a little better off without religion. Because I can't untether religion from poetry and music and art. And I can't, religion with a lowercase r. You know what I mean? I can't. And I also know through history, the terrible, we've gone through a few, but like Martin Luther King Jr. would not maybe have had the tenacity necessary to do what he did with civil rights if it was not buttressed with a true belief that he was doing God's will, that he was an extension of a divine will. And I think that every now and again, saying, I can't explain it, I'm just feeling it in my heart. And if that is the voice of God to you and it motivates you to do something wonderful, and if that is part of a larger fabric of things, I'm just not going to.
But see, that's not religion to me. That's spirituality. That's having a personal relationship with what you consider to be divine. When I hear religion, hard R, religion is something dictating to you what you should and should not be doing, and how you should and should not be living your life. And one thing is bad and one thing is good. And these people are bad and these people are good. That to me is hard our religion. To me, what you're describing is spirituality. Is like having an individual relationship to what you consider to be divine. When I walk into those churches, what I feel is divine is the creative divine spark of the universe. You know, there's an amazing, if you're a fan of Mike Flanagan on Netflix, you know, his show, Midnight Mass is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. And there's a final monologue at the very end of the show that perfectly compartmentalizes how I believe, and that we are all one, connected energetically. We are the universe experiencing itself. And I believe that we're all connected. I believe that creativity comes from a divine place, kind of this idea. There's this, the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, like a lot of scientists and a lot of creative people across the world, even before there were phones and whatever, get big ideas at the same time.
Including evolution.
Kind of this concept that there's something up there is like, hey, I have this thing that I want some human to channel this message. And it's going to bounce around from human to human until it finds the right person for it to express itself through. That's some sort of divinity to me. And when that is expressed through architecture, through music, through art, through movies, I believe that as being the presence of divine. That's why it's always fascinated me that like people that are anti-science, to me, science proves the existence of divinity because it's so fucking cool.
I find where I come up against religion generally, personally, is I never have a problem admitting doubt. I don't know if that's true or not. I will admit I don't know as soon as there's an inkling of it, right? And I have no compulsion to evangelize. If I think I have a truth, something I know fundamentally and divine that I just get and I'm not sure the rest of the world gets, I do not feel like I need to go evangelize and tell everybody about this great truth. But what I can't do is say I believe something I don't. Where I really start to itch and squirm and recognize a martyr, someone who dies for their faith, I start to get it. Because you want me to wear your dumb bonnet? You know what I mean? Like there's some shit I'm like, all right, fine. Every Sunday I got to go eat pie. It's fine. I don't care. But when we start getting into like repeat after me, I believe that I start to get like,
certainty.
And similar politically, I get that way when I start to get into trouble politically, meaning I'm left of center, surprise. When I get into conflict with other Democrats, it's usually because they're saying things like, flashback to June of 2024, don't say Joe Biden seems too old or Trump will win. And I was like, what? And my favorite Democrats, Pod Save America, you name them, were like, shut the fuck up about Biden being too old. We need to all rally behind this guy. And I was like, and it started to feel a bit evangelical, where it's like, just say he's the guy. Because all you know is the other guy's not the guy. So what harm could there be in you saying he's the guy? And I was like, but I don't know if he's the guy. And they were like, just say he's the fucking guy. And I was like, there's the wall. There's the wall.
Yeah.
Because I can own guns and still be a good Democrat. And I can eat meat and I can all these things. But you're telling me that I am not welcome in your party if I don't start lying to you about what I think.
Exactly. Which brings us back to what gives me hope about this ridiculous Christian nationalist movement that's happening right now with the pot and the porn and the whatever, is that what we've learned from the Shakers, people don't like being told what the fuck to do. So the Republican Party that originally was the party of small government, we don't like the government telling you what to do, has become the ultimate nanny state. And people don't like it. Historically, you can go as far back as you want. When you start telling people not to do something they like to do, they don't like it.
And yet, I ask you to consider Iran.
Yeah.
Where they may or may not like it. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I doubt very much they like it, and they are being told exactly. And they have been doing it.
Yep.
Since the 70s. So what's up?
Yeah.
Right? These bitches went from string bikinis and rock and roll and riding on the hoods of their car. I mean, American Graffiti, the movie American Graffiti, could have been shot in Tehran.
Yep. That we know from your friend.
Right. So there is...
Great episode, by the way.
Thank you. So there is a relationship between church and state.
Yep.
And we do want them separate for good reason, but sometimes you need the church to be a little bit more active in keeping them separate. And
Yep.
sometimes you need the state to keep a little bit, like somebody's kicking somebody out of bed. The only thing that's really a problem is when they start falling in love with each other. And that's when you get...
Well, when they get united over, again, when they get united over power.
Would you like to hear more music from Brittany right now?
I have that conversation with my, God bless my heterosexual, I have a, for the listeners, I have a giant heterosexual friend group that lives in my apartment building that I see. I mean, we basically live, we're basically roommates.
It's so beautiful. It's a very Friends-esque.
Yeah. And Joe Berge, friend of the pod, has been on an episode before, the Houdini episode.
Love him.
I feel like I subject them to a lot of Britney content, a lot of Britney conversation, and they take it with a very game. They're very game, and I appreciate it. But it makes me sad as a fan sometimes. This is the problem with like actually doing this with a friend, because then I'm just actually talking to you about my life,
which is great.
Making this too long.
Yeah, no, we love it.
You can edit it later. But it makes me sad as a fan. Like I'm jealous I watched the full Janet Jackson Vegas residency the other day. Girl, she is how old? 60 something?
Girl.
Almost 70?
Yeah.
She's doing original, the If dance break, she's doing it, and it looks great.
Crazy.
Sounds amazing. Singing live. Her new songs slap.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. She looks fantastic. She's better than she's looked in a long time. Lost a bunch of weight. Looks amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. Looks really, the show is incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so jealous as a fan that like those, if you're like, if Janet is to you what Britney was to me,
yeah, you still have her.
get to go see her and enjoy her, which I am also a Janet fan. I would love to go see her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes me sad that you still can't go enjoy. Yeah. But I never patronized a Britney event post breakdown.
Oh. For any particular reason or just coincidentally?
Because I saw her lose the spark in her eye. Mm-hmm. And then we also knew about the conservatorship and knew that she was probably being forced to, and she says it in her book, she was being forced to do something that she didn't really want to do. And her custody of her children was being held over her head. They're like, if you don't do this, we're going to take your kids away. Damn. And we knew that at the time. So at post breakdown, I never went to see her again because she was not the same.
It wasn't fun. My mom saw Elvis in his fat, sweaty pre-death years. Mm-hmm. And she said it was really hard because tough. We went to see Elvis. And then it was like, oh God, nobody even stood up. It was like a theater and people sat like you were seeing a play.
Yeah. Oof.
And,
yeah, it's sad. Who's your Britney?
Oh, probably Sarah McLachlan.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Like
Sarah
when you
McLachlan.
were growing up in like middle school, Dawn had posters on your wall.
I wouldn't say I ever had fandom like that of anything really, which is sort of I mean, if you looked at posters, the posters on my wall. Oh my God, I wish Lana Adams was here. I had a giant. This is so dumb. Giant poster of an ice cream cone with a toad instead of ice cream, and then whipped cream on top of the toad with like a cherry on top of the whipped cream. I mean, it was huge. It was like the size of a door. And it said toad a la mode. I thought it was funny.
Oh.
So I was like I was like, you remember the Edward Gorey? He did like really kind of dark cartoons in like the 60s and 70s of like death and but it was like kind of cutesy animation. I had like the alphabet according to Gory. That was like another like huge part of my wall. And it was like, A is for Alice who fell down the stairs. And it was like a picture of Alice, like a girl dying. Like B is for Brenda who ate too much, and it was just like children dying A to Z.
Yeah.
Like Toad a la mode and like Edward Gorey. So I think I was just into like weird. I'm a fan of weird shit, but like I wasn't a fan of Weird Al.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
So, I mean, I love Weird Al, but it wasn't like my room was all, I didn't have but Sarah McLachlan, the reason I went to her is because when I got my car at 16,
That was who you bumped in the car.
I cried to her. I celebrated to her. I stressed in the car in those distances between big things. You know what I mean? It was the Fumbling Towards Ecstasy album, everything. And I saw.
I remember you went to see her at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh my God, she looked amazing. I don't know how I was a big fan of her in high
How'd she
school,
sound?
and we're exactly the same.
Still sounded amazing.
Fucking amazing. And then me and my friend Kat were there, and we were just like singing along, like having a great time and vibing. And she sounded, and Kat's a singer, so Kat was like, God, you know, to be able to still sound like this after 25 years, so great. And she was like, yeah, I don't smoke and I don't drink and I don't do anything. We were like, well, sounds like it's out of reach.
Well,
Too bad, it's totally impossible.
crosses that out for me.
And that, my friend Ryan, is the Hilfing of religion in America.
Can I get an amen?
Yes!
History, I'd like to follow